Organize the youths try to persuade Biafrans that Nigerian army mean no harm. Organize the Youth Council wants Biafrans to focus on 2018 Biafra referendum. Nigeria has reached a boiling point of total anarchy, Amnesty International. Buhari is pushing the middle belt out of Nigeria, Engineer Emmanuel Abo. I totally surrender to Fulani herdsmen, Plateau Governor Lalong. Herdsmen must be arrested and prosecuted, Fani Kayode. Buhari meets northern leaders behind closed doors. Boko Haram have continued to attack civilians in Borno. And lastly, African Union reacts to the alleged Trump use of vulgar language. Now the news in details. In Omaha, a group that identifies itself as Organize the Youth Council, OYC, cannot convince indigenous people of Biafra to think differently from the known facts about the activities of the Nigerian army at the home of the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Mazin Namdekano. In trying to persuade Biafrans to believe that the Nigerian army is not building an army barrack around the home of Mazin Namdekano, the group stated by calling the federal government to urgently rebuild the palace of Eze Israel Kanu of Afaroku Beko, the father of indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, destroyed last September when soldiers raided it in search of the IPOB leader. According to Organize the Youth Council, rebuilding the palace could go a long way in assuaging the anger of the community on the village illegal invasion of the community by soldiers and the attendant trauma they went through. But Organize the Youth Council was not careful enough to dive into the matters involving the Nigerian army and the establishment of mini military barracks. The group tried to assure members of the indigenous people of Biafra that there is no plan by the military authority to establish a mini military barracks in Afara, saying that its leadership has investigated the allegation and found the rumor not to be true. They assured that nobody should be worried over it. But minding that it is too early to conclude in such a sensitive issue with the Nigerian army, especially when the army have been known to establish a heavy military presence around Afaruku, Omaha. Without proper analysis of the investigation, the Organize the Youth Council made a public statement signed by their national vice president, Comrade Obinna Achonye, stating that after our investigation, we assure IPOB that there is no iota of truth on the planned establishment of mini military barracks in Afara. Having taken a myopic view of the true situation, the group claimed that though we are not holding forth for federal government or Abia state government on the issue, but it is high time we reconcile with all agitators and heal the wounds of Python dance, which left many Igbo youths dead. Many Igbo youths are still in the mud, and we are worried of how they will be buried. Also, Organize the Igbo Youth Council worldwide insisted that it will always defend the interests of Igbo, especially from any external aggression and our collective enemies, the group stated. In the spirit of build-up for Biafran referendum, Organize the Youth feels like catching the attention of Biafrans with issues of Biafran referendum. In a public statement signed by the National Vice President, Comrade Obinna Achonye, maintained that we still call on all Biafra agitators to focus on the 2018 Biafra restoration through the universally accepted peaceful referendum and never be distracted by rumor peddlers. Organize the Youth Council worldwide will do anything peaceful to ensure that our youths are not victims of military brutality. The group concluded on the stand that the government must be held responsible for the damage caused in Omaha. Amnesty International has shown serious concern over the height of lawlessness in Nigeria, having followed the trend of massive killings and human rights abuse in Nigeria, beginning with the massive killing of the indigenous people of Biafra and the role being played by the Nigerian government, who have at all times denied its involvement in the massive shooting and human rights abuses leveled against them. Amnesty noted that Nigeria at this point in time should be more sensitive in controlling the activities of terrorists in the country. Amnesty International has warned the Buhari government to be proactive in addressing the clashes between herdsmen and farmers to prevent the total breakdown of law and order. The director of Amnesty International, Osai Ojio, is worried that the recent attacks by herdsmen on some communities in Benue State and those recorded in other parts of the country might get out of hand if not tackled squarely. We are really reaching a boiling point of total anarchy, she said. If you were to look at how things are developing, there is a lot of anger through different affected communities, and including those who actually are bearing the brunt of losing family members at this time of the year. We have been following the incessant killings that have been happening in this sort of clashes throughout last year, and of course at the beginning of the year. We woke up to experience another wave at an escalating level that we never thought would get to this point, she said. Amnesty International lamented that the governments of both federal and state levels are only doing little to address the issue. The human rights group have asked them to ensure the perpetrators of these killings are arrested and made to face the wrath of the law. President Muhammadu Buhari has been reminded of the implications of the killings that have been taking place in the Middle Belt and the total breakdown of law and order, where the lives of the people of Middle Belt has not been protected in Nigeria. Deputy National Secretary of People's Democratic Party (PDP), Engineer Emmanuel Agbo, has decried the silence of the Buhari-led administration over the killings in Benue State by Fulani extremists. In a statement on Wednesday, Agbo emphasized that the carnage across Middle Belt poses a threat to the existence of Nigeria as a nation. According to him, the silence of the federal government and President Muhammadu Buhari in the ethnic minority cleansing within the Middle Belt of Nigeria portends grave danger to the continuous existence of this country as one nation, he said. This has the capacity to mobilizing the minorities of the Middle Belt into seeking self-governance. It is on record, as evidenced by multiple grave sites in virtually all compounds within the communities of the Middle Belt, that the blood of our forebears spilled during the Civil War is the belt of unity that has held this country together to date. This sacrifice has gone unnoticed, unappreciated, and unrewarded. The Idoma-born PDP chieftain appealed to the security operatives to arrest the culprits and put an end to the senseless killings. He stated that the people of the region may be forced to stand for themselves and take their destiny in their own hands if the killings persist. The current generation of our people will no longer continue to sacrifice their sons and daughters in our union or a nation that does not protect them. If this senseless killing is ever attempted again, the region will have no choice but to take our destiny in our own hands. I will end. At this moment, we will be going on a break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Praise the Lord. Praise He that is high and lifted, that is more than able, created this day, and has sought to bless each. Is married to Indigo, and I speak on behalf of my beautiful wife who's right here. Please stand up. I will come to my people. We are together. Before I go into just a few words that I will, another friend and brother of mine, Gani Adams, the Are, Onakakamfo elect, would also have been here today, but he has his installation on Saturday by the Alafi of Oyo. He's the Generalissimo of Yoruba land. He also asked me to say a few words on his behalf, which I will. And then finally, I'll just say a very, very few words on my own behalf, but I'll be very, very brief. First of all, the governor has said that he stands in total and complete solidarity with this meeting and this newfound friendship, this handshake across the Niger. He sees himself as primarily a friend of the Igbos, and he has always stood by the Igbos, and he will always stand by the Igbos. There is a rising tide in this country which seeks to build that bridge, and Fayoshe is part of that rising tide. And he asks me to tell you that he will do whatever he can to continue to build that bridge and strengthen that bridge and ensure that our people, the great and noble people of the Southeast and the Southwest, move forward together with one accord and stand firm in fighting for the rights of our respective populations in a wider and a greater Nigeria. So he identifies with you, he sees your pain, and he's proud to be part and parcel of this gathering. On the part of Gani Adams, my friend and brother, who is now to play a far more significant role in the affairs of Yoruba land and this nation, and of course all of us under the leadership of Afeni Fere, of which I'm very proud to say. Gani also extends his very best to you. He says, as he stood for the Yoruba, so he shall stand for the Igbo. his new role will be one that will have monumental implications for what's going to happen in the next few months and years in this country. And I urge each and every one of you to pray for him, because if anybody knows the historical significance of that title, they'll realize that everything literally hangs on his shoulder in terms of the welfare of our people. And if we are to ever go into battle, he will be the one to lead us into it. And of course, we'll be proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with him, and we will enter that battle together. So he sends his very, very best to you. Now let me just say this on my own behalf, because I have to be very brief. I wish to make it very clear that this is a great gathering. Long overdue. Should have happened many years ago. And it's the beginning of great things. But we must focus on the issues and stop trying to be too politically correct. And let's look at those issues very briefly. In this nation today, there are slaves called vassals and there are masters. Unfortunately for us, those that see themselves as masters consider the rest of us as slaves and vassals. What we need to do is to come together and say to them with one accord that we are no slaves. We have never been slaves, and we will never be slaves. The suffering of the people of the Southeast, and I say this without any fear of contradiction, the suffering of the people of the Southeast is something that we in the rest of Nigeria have to apologize to you for. You lost almost 2 million people in the Civil War. Children, 1 million children. You were slaughtered on the night of July 28, 1966, when 300 Ipob officers were slaughtered in one night. And the great Fajri, who sacrificed his life to build this bridge, and the great leader of our country at the time, the great Ironside, all of them stood together and they all died together. 300 were killed that night. After that, a few months later, over 100,000 Igbos were slaughtered in the north. Pregnant women had children taken out of their stomachs. People were slaughtered from house to house. They were killed like flies. Then came the Civil War. 1 million little children. 1 million little children were starved to death. After that, year after year, decade after decade, pogroms, killings, slaughtering in the north of primarily Igbos and also Southerners. Didn't stop there. They also, as they have always done, slaughtered people in the middle, and I'm glad.
Welcome back. Still watching Sunrise, the news report. In what seems to be a total surrender to the dreaded Fulani herdsmen, Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State has said that his administration will not enact the anti-grazing law in the state, claiming that grazing areas for cattle ranching are yet to be developed. The governor said this on Thursday when he fielded questions from State House correspondents after a closed-door meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari in the presidential villa, Abuja. Lalong said he had earlier advised the governors of Taraba and Benue against implementing the anti-grazing law in their respective states, even though ranching remained the only way to guarantee peaceful farmers, herdsmen coexistence in the country. When the governor of Benue was doing the law, I told him, just be careful, take other steps before you start implementation. But he said that states are different, that his own concept is different, and for us in Plateau it is different. I said I will not do the law before the implementation of certain...
Africans were colonized. Africans claim that we gained our independence, but the neo-colonial project is alive and well. Speak to Ngugi wa Thiong'o, he'll tell you that our minds are still colonized. And that is why he talks about decolonizing the mind. Because throughout the ages, the battle has always been the battle of the minds. That is where it is won and lost. And one of the things that I've discovered over the ages is that those who want to control you, the first thing that they do is to change your name. Even God changes his name when he wants to deal with you. When you are Abraham, he makes you Abraham. When you are Sarai, he makes you Sarah. And the very first thing that the colonialists did was to change our names, to convince us that a Christian name could only be Andrew and Mary and Jane and all these other names, that Kamau cannot be a Christian name, that Njoroge cannot be a Christian name, and we believed it. And I'm submitting to us that there is a sense in which our minds are not free. I'm submitting to us that at all critical times in history we have to make painful choices. I'm speaking to you, African, are present here. What choices have you made? Have you made choices to run away to the United States to get the green card? Is that your choice? Have you made a choice to run away to Europe to flip hamburger? Have you made a choice to run away to go to Europe and to be humiliated at the embassies of the United States of America, Australia, and the United Kingdom? I'm submitting to us that we must change, because the divine instruction is that each one of us must make do with what we have. It cannot be right that a continent that is so blessed has our young men and women with only one ambition: to go to the United States. I know families where when wives are pregnant, they want to go to the United States that they may give birth there, that their child may be a citizen of the United States of America. The United States of America was not built by an army of angels. No, it was built by human beings. And I'm submitting to us that going forward, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, we must make a choice. And I'm submitting to us that we must change now, because if we don't change...
This is Biafra television. Is President Biafra.
Welcome back. You're still watching Sunrise Daily. We sincerely apologize for the breaking transmission. In what seemed to be a total surrender to the dreaded Fulani herdsmen, Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State has said that his administration will not enact the anti-grazing law in the state, claiming that grazing areas for cattle ranching are yet to be developed. The governor said this on Thursday when he fielded questions from State House correspondents after a closed-door meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari in the presidential villa, Abuja. Lalong said he had earlier advised the governors of Taraba and Benue against implementing the anti-grazing law in their respective states, even though ranching remained the only way to guarantee peaceful farmers' herdsmen coexistence in the country. When the governor of Benue was doing the law, I told him, just be careful. Take other steps before you start implementation. But he said that states are different, that his own concept is different, and for us in the plateau it is different. I said I will not do the law before the implementation of certain things. I have not seen rangers. I have not yet developed the ranching areas, so I cannot go and say I put up a law to stop who. If I stop herdsmen, what is the alternative, he asked. On the concept of cattle colonies being advocated by the government of Muhammadu Buhari, Lalong said he had been convinced and has finally surrendered to the will of the president to hand over the state to Fulani herdsmen. He said the state government already earmarked 2 large areas as sites for the grazing of domestic animals in the state. He therefore expressed the hope that the creation of cattle colonies would check the persistent farmers-herdsmen conflicts across the country. It could be noted that Plateau State was one of the embattled states by Fulani herdsmen that led to the wanton destruction of lives and properties in the state. Having been under heavy pressure from the presidency, the governor of Plateau State appears to have bowed to the demands of the federal government and Fulani herdsmen. Fani Kado was the only voice that echoed into the air as Igbo women gave him applause for his position in defending the truth. In Enugu, the Ohanezen and all other politicians that gathered for a handshake across the Niger were all silent as they lost their voices when Igbo women from all nooks and crannies of Biafra land rose to stop the deceptive leader of Ohanezen. While politicians, traditional rulers and other stakeholders from the South-South, South-West, Middle Belt and Southeast urged the federal government to declare Miyetti Allah a terrorist organization. Fani Kayode maintained that those who killed us must be brought to book. The leaders accused President Buhari of allegedly turning a blind eye to the killing and maiming of Nigerians in Benue, Plateau, Kwara, and Kaduna State, as well as other parts of the country, while unarmed members of the indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, were allegedly killed by soldiers for organizing peaceful demonstrations. Chief Fani Kayode, who represented both Governor Fayose and Gani Adams, urged Nigerians not to always expect that they would do things that are politically correct if they wish to achieve their aim. In this country, we have those regarded as slaves and the vassals. The suffering of the people of the Southeast is something we should all be ashamed of in this country. A report of an attack on villagers by Boko Haram has been reported in Borno State. It was reported on Friday that Boko Haram fighters have killed at least 20 lovers, military members and residents in the latest attack against civilians in northeast Nigeria. The attack happened on Monday when gunmen on motorbikes opened fire on a group of loggers collecting firewood at Kajo village near the Borno State capital, Maiduguri. The Boko Haram killed 20 people in the attack. 15 others are missing and presumed kidnapped by the attackers. Nigeria's government and military maintain that the Islamist militants who have pledged allegiance to the Islamic State group are on the verge of defeat. The conflict, which began in 2009, has been more than 20,000 and forced some of 2.0 million others from their homes, triggering a dire humanitarian crisis in the region. But despite clear military gains in major towns and cities, hard to reach rural communities remain vulnerable to attack. President Muhammadu Buhari has continued to strengthen his stronghold in the north and continued to prove himself the president of northern Nigeria, while other geopolitical zones in Nigeria remain marginalized. Reports from the presidency has revealed that the 7 state governors from the northern part of the country on Friday met behind closed doors with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa Abuja. All the governors were elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress. It was reported that Trump said the United States should let in more people from places such as Norway, whose prime minister met with him in the White House on Wednesday. In a tweet Friday morning, Trump seemed to suggest he didn't use the words attributed to him. The African Union said it is frankly alarmed by the president's statement. AU spokeswoman Eba Kolando told the Associated Press, given the historical reality of how many Africans arrived in the United States as slaves, this statement flies in the face of all accepted behavior and practice. She said, this is particularly surprising as the United States of America remains a global example of how migration gave birth to a nation built on strong values of diversity and opportunity. With this, we've come to the end of the news for today, but before we go, here are the recap. Ohaneze youths fired to persuade Biafrans that Nigerian army mean no harm. Ohaneze Youth Council wants Biafrans to focus on 2018 Biafran referendum. Nigeria has reached a boiling point of total anarchy, Amnesty International. Buhari is pushing the middle belt out of Nigeria, Engineer Emmanuel Abo. I totally surrender to Fulani herdsmen, Plateau Governor Ladon. Herdsmen must be arrested and prosecuted, Fani Kayode. Buhari meets northern leaders behind closed doors. Boko Haram have continued to attack civilians in Borno. And lastly, African Union react to the alleged Trump use of vulgar language. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed staying with us this morning, as well as I enjoyed staying with you this morning. At this moment, we will be logging out for now. We urge you to stay tuned as we bring to you Sunrise Daily News Analysis on BTV. Thanks for watching.
This is Biafra Television, exposing the lies. This is Biafra Television, exposing the lies.
obodo ekwensu abụzu Naijiria abụghị ndị eziokwu. Hapụ onye ọzọ ha eme ihe ọzọ. Ihe nyere anyị obi si ike ịma na ha ga-adarịrị na restructuring bụ a gara abụrụ akpacha ya abata aghasa agago constitutional conference mbụ gaa nke abụọ gaa nke atọ ihe niile ekwuchara na ihe a ga-eme onweghị nke emere mgbe a lụchara gasị na restructuring rehabilitation and reconciliation ụka uhu n'ezi onweghị nke emere eme ile ka obodo ekwensu ọ bụ Naijiria si akpa agwa ma ọ bụ ndị na-achị ha si akpa agwa ị ga-ahụ na ha abụghị ndị na-ekweta n'ihe e kwuru. Ha na-ekwu ofu ha mana eme ọzọ ọ ka ndụ ha si dị o mekọta anya n'ụwa ha ekweta ka emee restructuring. Ihe a bụ ihe m gwara ndị ọha na eze kama ha agha amụ ntị n'olu. Ọ gwara m ha agwa na restructuring ha na-achọ na ọgaghị enwe isi esi ọnwụ si n'ọhịa ha chọrọ nsogbu unu gosi m restructuring unu were ya wetara m ya tupu unu gwa m sị m hapụ Biafra m na-eme ka ebe restructuring nọ taa. Biafra nwanụ ejighị n'aka kama tupu agha ha n'ala dịka ndị Awụsa na Fulani si ekposa ha n'ala a gwara ha sị ha unu gaa n'igwe na-agbasa ozi unu gaa kọtọ Nnamdi Kanu unu gaa kọtọ IPOB ka ihe ndị Awụsa gwara ọhaneze bịa n'igwe na-agbasa ozi bịa kọtọ IPOB kọtọ m ekwere ha nkwa gba ha sị unu kọtọcha ha ga-enye unu restructuring ha pụta kọtọcha anyị ha nwetara restructuring.
Biko kamgbe ahụ ihe dị etu a na-eme anyị maara na kamgbe nwunye Woor batara nwere ihe dị ka obere ihe mgbanwe n'ebe ọhaneze
ekenego m ya agara m ugboro abụọ nke izizi ọnọhịa ọ nọ na Amerịka nkakwa ọzọ mmiri ya nweghịkwa anyị na-ese nna ka ọwụ ebe ọ na-akwari igwe rubere ya isi kama ihe nna agwa ha wụ ha hapụ ị na-eso ndị Awụsa na ndị Fulani onwe uru ha bara anyị anya na-ekwu ekwusi ike ị na-eme ọhaneze ime ọhaneze anakwanye ugwu rubere ya isi na ịwa ọhaneze ọwa ọhaneze nke ndị Awụsa si egosi bịazie anyị chọdụ ọhaneze bụ nkasị ọzọ arịawa ọhaneze ka anyị na-eme ebe a ka ezigbo ọhaneze ka anyị na-eme Awụsa si egosi si gị bịa kọtọọ ihe IPOB na-eme pụta kọtọọ uwe olekwanye ka ọhaneze na-agwa arịwasị akọtọọ ụmụaka ha na Awụsa na Fulani anya ha ntị n'obi ọ gwara sọsọ ndị Igbo ka ọ na-eme onye Fulani kpọọ ha n'ekwentị si ha ngwụrụ ga akọtọ ụmụnne unu ha kọtọ ebutere ha ego n'Enugu ha na-akụgharị igwe niile na-agbasa ozi ekwu mpụ niile gbasara IPOB ihe anyị na-eme. Ọ sị m ha nọ n'Enugu ha kwụsị na-aga Abuja ha nọ n'Enugu na-eme ihe ha na-eme n'Enugu ka anyị ha nkwado n'Enugu ọwụ tupu ikwu okwu ige ihe ala ha ji ga-agwa gị ka ikwu onwe ha nwee obi nke ha kwuo okwu ha kwuru n'okwu ahụ ha kwuru eluigwe agaghị ada nwe ihe ga-eme ha kwuo okwu ha eguzo ebe ha nọ kwuo okwu ahụ siri nye ihe ga-emerịrị ọnwụ ikwuchi okwu ala ha ji kpọọ gị n'elekere anya nọ ehihie ikwuere ihe ọzọ a sị anyị ka anyị gagharị ana m ajụ ọha na eze ya kedu restructuring ji nata isi m tụfuo eleghị anya chahụ Biafra isi m tọgbọ nka ka inye m nke a restructuring isi m tọgbọ nka ka inye m nke a nna asị gị nna ekwu ka m jidegoro nka tupu m hụ nka isi m were nọchi anya ya isi m mba m lụfuo ya n'ihe ndị Awụsa kwuru mgbe na elufugo m ya Biafra unu agaghị weta restructuring onwe ike eji anyị gbasi aka na-arịọ ha ngwa unu menere anya ebere unu chọrọ anyị nwe obere restructuring ebe a ma nwe ebe ọzọ ọ bụ ihe anyị chọrọ. Obodo ekwensu abụzu Naijiria abụghị ndị eziokwu. Hapụ onye ọzọ ha eme ihe ọzọ. Ihe nyere anyị obi si ike ịma na ha ga-adarịrị na restructuring